Hey, Nathan here. Welcome back to another episode of the Trails in the Sky first chapter playthrough. We're gonna continue where we left off. The mayor's house was broken into, and looks like something was stolen from the safe, and we know what that something was because it's no longer in the safe. And I'm thinking from this point on, I probably won't deal with all these side quests. I know I said in the original, either part 0 or part 1, that I missed a couple, and I was hoping to get to that in this playthrough, but my main goal is to document the story for those that haven't played the game and don't have the time to play it, and then they can just watch a video and skip to the cutscenes and stuff, and do whatever they want to do with the video. They don't have to fire up the game and play it for 40 hours. So, one, I mentioned I didn't want to talk to all the NPCs and deal with that stuff. And two, it also might be fun for those of you that are watching, and I do plan to give away a couple copies of the game, so if you're watching the playthrough and you get a copy of the game, it might be fun to do those side quests where you haven't seen me do those. So the main purpose of this is I want to get through Trails in the Sky, all 3 games, Trails of Cold Steel 1 through 4. I want to get all those recorded, and then hopefully at some point, probably after I finish the 3rd, I can get to at least one of the Crossbell games, because that should be ready on Steam and should be localized officially where I can play it without any kind of mods or things like that. So it's going to be a lot of playthroughs, and I don't want to be here until next year doing this, so I'm going to stick to the main storyline. I might jump in and pick a quest or 2 that I found really fun in my last playthrough, but primarily for the goal from this point on for this playthrough is to stick to the story, hit the main plot points, and document that for those that haven't played it. And if you win a copy of the game, good. There's awesome side quests and side content that you won't see me play from here on out. More than likely, I might pick a handful or 2. So let's continue. So, investigation. Let's look at some of the stuff here. The gift that we delivered to the mayor for the queen is those cricks are not going to get away with this. It doesn't look like they jimmed the door either. Jimmied the door open. They must have decrypted the combination and opened it, or could they have really cracked the combination? It's not impossible, but I imagine that it'll be difficult for anyone besides a skilled pro. My best guess is that they figured out the combination using a much simpler means. What do you mean by simpler means? Well, let's see. They could have, for example, dusted the buttons with a special powder. A powder like that would have absorptive properties, and due to the fineness, it would be invisible to the naked eye. However, if blue light were placed over it, it would glow. Alright, and now let's imagine for a minute that the mayor entered the combination with the powder present. The powder on the buttons would stick to his fingers and come off. This would be one way to know which buttons were pressed. Now wait a minute. Wouldn't they still not know the order in which the buttons were pressed? That's not exactly the case. As the powder collected on the fingers increased, the amount taken from the buttons would decrease. In other words, the crooks would press the buttons in order starting from the least luminescent. Might be a little more difficult if there are duplicate numbers, but the crooks should be able to make a pretty good guess as to what they are. That makes sense. Joshua, are you a genius or something? That's just basic knowledge. Anyway, let's check out the buttons. Just as I thought, powder was used. Now there's no doubt in my mind that this safe was opened using the same method I just explained. Oh, right. Now the big question is, who dusted the buttons with the powder? We know it would have been at least one person who visited the residence. Right. Now, figuring out who that is, that's going to be the tricky part. Okay. The spot's been tipped over, but there's nothing inside. Looks like it only tipped over after being hit by something with force. It's just like the mayor to have a ton of difficult books like this. Looks like he got some valuable antique books here as well. The criminals either had no idea about the value of the books or... this is just a clutter box, right? It's empty as well. The box lock looks like it was burned off. The criminals may have used an orbital gun. More difficult books. This place is all torn apart. Lita would probably faint if she saw this. Looks like all the books on the shelf have been scattered about the room. It seems kind of senseless to have done all this. There are several documents inside the drawer. They don't appear to have been disturbed. They seem to be documents regarding the Rolent city's government. The fact that these are as they are suggests that there was no political aim involved. Alright, I think that's it for this room. Let's go out here. And look at this. Look, there are some marks on this railing. You're right. And they're fresh, too. Looks like something metal dug into the wood. Yep, that was it. Alright, I think this room's done. I had such a scare. I was cleaning up the attic when suddenly a bunch of masked men came barging in. Masked men, huh? That means that this wasn't a one-man job. How many people were in the group? I'd probably guess about 3 or 4. Oh, that reminds me. One of them was short. It might have been even a girl. Okay. I don't believe anything was in this room here. No. Okay. Are you alright, ma'am? Yes, I'm fine. The intruders weren't violent towards us. Is there anything you notice in particular about the intruders? They were wearing masks, so I wouldn't be able to tell you about any specific features. That reminds me, I'm certain the front door was locked. I locked the door just to be safe since my husband had gone out to the chapel and there were just the two of us here. I wonder how in the world they got in. Well, we know by looking at outside on the railing. Huh? What's this? Found a Surveillance leaf. Don't you think it's a bit strange for the leaf to be in a place like this? On top of that, it's not the type that grows around here. You're sharp as still. This is the place where the residents were locked up. It was probably dropped by one of the criminals as they were locking everybody up. So it's a key piece of material evidence, right? Alright, nothing there. Let's go check the front door. You said the door was locked at the time of the burglary, right? Doesn't look like the lock's been broken either, which means they got in another way. Doesn't look like the cooks came. Let's check someone. Okay, so we check that. I'm pretty sure when I played this through the first time, I thought I got everything, but I was missing one thing. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was a railing I didn't go out here. Or maybe I didn't re-go. Yeah. So you had to look at it twice. That's what it was. Something metal and strong enough to leave marks, huh? This seems like something worth jotting down in our bracer notebooks. Just to double check. Yep, okay. And just, we've already worked out, so let's check somewhere else, okay. Alright, I think that was it. This is what things look like when I came home. I didn't get a glimpse of what the criminals either. Alright. I had the mayor run me through all the details. How about you two? Did you find anything? Yep. Alright, then let's check the details one by one and see what you've come up with. First off, what were the criminals after? The septum inside the safe. Food preserves from the kitchen. Nice. How many of them were there? There was a group of 3 or 4. Yeah. Where do they get in from the house from? From the terrace on the 2nd floor. I'm not trying to rush, so I just want to make sure. Point blank, what's the portrait of those thought that we committed the crime? Alright, a traveler who visited recently. Does I know who it is? Wow, you did a good job investigating. Looks like we'll be able to specify who the criminals are with this information. Mayor Klaus, over the past 2 or 3 days, have you had any new faces in your study? We've seen this face. When you put it that way, I guess there's been a number of people. That reporter from the magazine company was one. Oh, so those 2 came to visit you too, huh? But at that time of the crime, they were with us at the Esmeralda's Tower. I think we can cross them off the list of suspects. I see. So, Mayor Klaus, were there any others? Other than that, there was only Josette. Well, let's not kid ourselves here. I think it'll be a bit of a stretch for her to be our thief. After all, she's a student of the Royal Academy. Criminals aren't always dressed so they can be easily spotted. As for a school uniform, if someone put their mind to it, they could create a replica. But I'm telling you, she was a really nice girl. She was modest and courteous. Right, Joshua? I'm sorry to say this, but I completely disagree. Huh? During that time, when the mayor put the septum in the safe, that girl's eyes lit up like a hunter's, eyeing her prey. Of course, since I have no conclusive evidence, I couldn't call her out on it. But at least to me, she didn't look like an ordinary student. You must be joking. Unbelievable. At any rate, it looks like we're going to have to ask this girl a few questions. You wouldn't happen to know where she is, would you? If I remember right, she said she'd be staying at the hotel. But she said something about taking off from Rolent sometime today. Well, looks like we're gonna have to hurry then. Still, Joshua, let's try the hotel first. Right. Understood. And now we get Cher in our party. Cool. Give me 1 second. I'm getting a new drink here. So yeah, these kind of quests are really interesting, different than the you kill this monster, get 10 of these items. So I really enjoy these kind of quests. Alright, so to the hotel. And it's right here. Hulk. Stella, Joshua, and even Sherazard. There's something the matter? You remember a girl named Josette? She's a student from the Royal Academy who should be staying here. Of course I remember her, but she checked out just a moment ago. Shoot, we were a minute late. Let's hurry to the landing port. We might be able to catch her there. She really didn't seem like a bad girl. Question marks? Alright, and it should be up here. Yep. Please excuse the delay. The airliner should be arriving any time now, so please be patient. Yo, Alan. It's us if you haven't noticed. Oh, it's you guys. Oh, and Sherazard too. Thank you, Adios, for the Feast of the Eyes. So, what's up? You didn't by chance happen to see a girl in a school uniform around here, did you? A girl in a school uniform? School uniform from where? From the Jeunesse Royal Academy. Oh, baby, those uniforms are so hot. Oh, God, Alan. The contrast of those neatly pleated white skirts and navy blue socks. Oh, yes, I can see them now. I totally forget what the boys' uniforms look like, though. That's one obsession I just don't get. Thus defineth man's eternal struggle. Back on topic here. So you didn't see a girl in the Royal Academy uniform? Nope, not this month. And believe me, I watched for those. I believe me, Alan. I check all the passengers boarding and disembarking, so I can tell you at least that she hasn't come here. Which means that she came to Rolent along the roads without using an airliner. This complicates things. Our search field suddenly got much bigger. Come to think of it, there must be others. So they've got to be hiding somewhere. Wait, that reminds me. What does, Estelle? Oh, I don't know if I did this in my first playthrough. I'm so tempted to do that. Ah. No. It would be fun, but... Well, the Cervez leaf. Still put out the Cervez leaf and found in the attic. Almost forgot that we found this. Could this be some sort of clue? Oh, right, we did find that. Sheriff, do you know of any places nearby that Cervez trees grow? Cervez trees, huh? I'm pretty certain they grow in the Mistwald south of Rolent. That's the forest in the opposite direction from home as Rolent, right? Seems like it's worth looking into. That settles it. Let's head up the highway and look through Rolent South Gate. You're real excited, aren't you? Well, whatever it is, good luck. Oh, I get so tempted to just choose those funny answers, but also, last time I wanted to make sure I get all the bonus points I possibly could, and this time I just want to stick to the main story. Wait up, you're running like a crazed lunatic. Who can just walk and talk at a time like this? Hey! Is he drunk? Wheeze, wheeze. No. Yep. It's smoking too much. Maybe I should think about cutting back on those blasted cigarettes. What are the two of you up to? You kids again, huh? Actually, we've got to get to Bose ASAP. I'm gonna pronounce that Bose, because every time I just say Bose, I think of the headphones. So whether it's truly pronounced Bose or not, I'll just do Bose. But the airliner's not even here yet. I know, that's why we're heading on there on foot. It'll take some time, but it's not a distance that we can't cover ourselves. Well, don't wear yourselves out too badly. By the way, are you after a scoop or something? Yeah, and the mother of all scoops, too. No time to talk. We've got to make it there today. Wonder if now it's going to be alright. See you later, Estelle, Joshua. Well, aren't they a lively pair? Friends of yours? Those are the reporters from one of the jobs Dad asked us to take over. I wonder what's going on. Alright, so south here. Alright, and then south here. Let's see if I can do equipment. Share 161. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I'll do that. I got freeze and petrify. Sure, death blows. Well, no. Confuse. Alright. Oh. Ornaments. I really don't need defense, but... yeah, clock up, tear, okay. And let's get damage output going here. So I got strike there. Sure. Alright, let's get going. Mistwald is down further. And it's to the right here, yes. Okay. Of course.
Let's move out.
Alright. A lot of guys here. Sure, you missed. Oh, you missed.
All right, we're good to go.
Cool. Wow. Yeah, I think you actually did. You did. Did 7 damage to me.
Oh, are we done already?
Once things start getting a little bit more stabilized, I wish the enemies did scale with you on New Game Plus. But once things get a little bit more stabilized, I will start slowing down on the combat. It's just right now it's one-hit kills, so I'm speeding through it. So this is Mistwald, huh? Can you tell us anything, Sheriff? Someone came through here, alright? From what I can see, a number of people passed through here not that long ago. I'd wager, Mira, we're on the right track. How can you be so sure? Because tracking fugitive is an essential skill for bracers. Anyway, let's check the woods. Be sure to keep your voices low. Roger that. Understood. Alright, now, this doesn't have a map. Do I have the... Let's do... I'm debating on no encounters here. Sure. Alright, so no encounters, I can run into the monsters, no issue. Okay. Just to speed things up a little bit more. Because this would be a giant mess if I didn't have that. So I went up and to the right. Yep, that's where it was. That was too easy. And to think that something that exquisite as this fell into my hands with almost no effort. Wait till Don and Kyle hear about this. You surprised me, that's for sure. The way you pulled off that act wearing that school uniform was simply astounding. Now, I don't... Was it in the second one? There's something to keep your eye on in this game, especially in, I think it's in Cold Steel 3 for sure. Something is a callback to these games. It's just something to be aware of. Just what you'd expect from a metamalist of an aristocratic family. Sorry, that word threw me off. Yeah, but what's in the past is in the past. But it certainly doesn't hurt that this outfit, I can deceive almost anyone. That gullible mayor and that dim-witted bracer girl. Idiots, the whole lot of them. What was that? Calm down. Let's see what else they have to say. Fine, but I'm not happy about this. Yeah, but that girl seemed pretty tough. I mean, she took care of all the monsters that appeared in the mine. The mine? Oh, so you're the one who screwed up their job. If you had just done it like you were supposed to, I wouldn't have had to put on a monkey show to get this thing. My apologies. Forget about it. All's well that ends well. At any rate, those two kids being bracers was an absolute joke. Especially that brainless bimbo. She honestly believed that we could be friends. What a frickin' moron. I just had to try so hard to keep from laughing. Now this is rich. How stupid can she be? It's just so absurd. What's so funny? It's you guys. Yep, it's that brainless bimbo and her absolute joke of a bracer partner. And this probably won't come as a surprise. We're gonna beat you up right now. What? Bracers? How'd they find... You did a fine job stealing that septum from the mayor's residence, but... Looks like you were a little too careless in the end. In accordance with the laws of the Bracer Guild, you are hereby under arrest and charged with the breaking and entering, vandalism, and burglary. It would be in your best interest not to resist, but I'm sure Estelle is hoping you will. This doesn't look good. What are we going to do now, Josette? How about you quit quacking in your boots and quaking in your boots for starters? These bracers are nothing more than a ragtag group of kids. I think it's time we showed them the real strength of the Kapua family. Who are you to be calling us kids, you brat? I've had it up to here and I'm going to do something about it right now. Hey, that's my line. Alright, boys, get 'em. Roger that, my pleasure, understood. 0. Yeah, Joshua, go ahead and end it.
You're finished.
That's it.
All right, we're good to go.
How in the world? You had enough yet? That's what you get for taking us bracers so lightly. And we'll be taking this back if you don't mind. Thank you very much. Recovered the crystal. Hey, that septium belongs to me. No, not to you. To the people of Rolent, that's who. Sheer nerve you have to say something like that. It's astounding. Now that we've got the crystal back, how about we move on to confession time? That's an interesting name you mentioned. The Kapua family, was it? My big mouth. I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. So you want to be a tough egg to crack, do you? I don't mind at all. In fact, I like him that way. Ah! What are you trying to do? That's a dangerous thing to be swinging around like that. Well, if you can't answer with your mouth, then maybe your body can answer it instead. But don't worry, I'll be extra gentle. Eek! Get away from me, crazy witch! I think Cher is enjoying this. Let's just sit back and enjoy the show. Look out, Cher. An orbital gun? You alright, Cher? I'm fine, forget about me. Look at that. An airship. Looks like the tables are turned in our favor now, aren't they? You okay, Josette? Kyle, you're late. Where have you been? Oh, never mind. Just hurry up and give us a hand. No can do. Our push into the Rolent region has been put on hold. Something big came up in the Bose region while you were out. What's that supposed to mean? I don't have the time to explain. Hurry and hop on or I'll have to leave you behind. Crap. So where do you think you're going? We'll pick this up another day. And don't you think you've won either. Payback's gonna be a beast. So I wonder what's going on in the Bose region. I sure wasn't expecting anything like that to come out of the woodwork. Looks like they caught us all off guard. This isn't a laughing matter. Right now I'm so frustrated, I don't even know what to think. Well, on the bright side, we did get the septium crystal back. Switching gears, that group sure looked to me like a bunch of sky bandits. Yes, they certainly seem of that variety. It also sounds like they made the Bose region their base of operations as well. I certainly would have expected a group like that to travel all the way to a rural place like Rolent. I couldn't care less if they were sky bandits or brigands. Sorry, I couldn't care less if they're sky bandits or brigands. Next time I see that scruffy lying jerk of a tomboy, I'm going to thwack bam kapow her. What's thwack bam kapow supposed to mean? Thus, the septium crystal stolen from the mayor's residence was safely recovered. After returning it to the mayor, Estelle and the others returned to the guild to report the details of the incident. Looks like you had a rough day. Who would have thought the Sky Bandits would appear? I don't blame you for letting them escape. No, this time it was my fault. I should have been more careful. I'm really far from being in the same league as Cassius. It's not your fault, Shara. I let my emotions get the best of me, and I was careless as well. No, you guys did a great job. Your on-site investigations of the mayor's residence was flawless, too. Don't you think you should recommend them, Aina? Yes, I was thinking the same thing as well. Recommend? What do you mean? Hold your horses. First comes the payment for your job well done. So yep, I got an extra 5 BP with the main being 6 and just 3,000 euro. This is for you both, and take this as well. Recommendation. This is... As of now, you are both junior bracers. In other words, bracers in training. In order to become senior bracers, you will need to receive recommendations from all regional branches in the kingdom. This is your first recommendation, from the Rolent branch. Is it really okay for us to have this? I had heard that in order to become a full-fledged bracer, we need to achieve something fairly noteworthy. I think in light of the jobs performed in your father's stead and your great showing here, your achievements are sufficient. However, those achievements are only for your work here in Rolent. You'll need to receive recommendations from the other regional branches after achieving success there as well. Bose, Ruin, Zeiss, and finally Gransol. Still got a long road ahead of you. Even so, I'm really happy. It was worth all that hard work. Now that we've come this far, don't you think we should visit the other regions too, Joshua? I figured you'd say as much. I agree with you, but we can't decide this all by ourselves. We should discuss it with Dad when he gets home. Right. Oh? There's a telephone, right? Hello, this is the Bracer Guild's Rolent branch in the Liberal Kingdom. Ah, it's been a while since we last talked, hasn't it? I see. Are you sure? That's terrible. Wonder if something happened. Looks that way to me. Yes, that's right. He left out of business the other day. What? I apologize, but this is a little bit difficult to believe. Understood. I'll pass on the news to his family. They'll be fine. They're bracers too. Yes, and if you hear anything else, please let me know. What's wrong, Aina? It's unusual for you to be so surprised like that. Who is calling? The Bose branch. Something terrible has happened. The airliner, Lind, has disappeared over the Bose region. What? How is that possible? I don't know any of the details, but the Royal Army is currently conducting a wide-scale search. Due to this event, all their flights have been postponed. Well, that explains the backup at the landing port. And Aina? So, Joshua, please brace yourself. Your father, Cassius, was aboard the airliner which went missing. What? Impossible! There's gotta be some kind of mistake. Seems his name was on the passenger list. Liberal Bracer Guild, Rolent Branch, Senior Bracer. Cassius Bright, 45. Alright, so I mentioned that this game is a little slow, and it does have some points where it picks up, and this was the first one that really got me really excited. You know, it's not just typical standard RPG, and the fact that Cassius went missing and the airliner went missing, that just started to get my interest going more. But it's still, this game is still a very slow process. But it does have those moments that really help in that regard. I'm going to save it, and let's continue. Still, are you in there? Joshua? Dinner's ready. Just to let you know, we'll be having roasted basil chicken and onion soup gratin. That sounds so good. I'll come down later, so why don't you two go on ahead and eat? Alright. Well, make sure to come down before your food gets cold. And I know I've mentioned this before, but there will be lots of words that I mispronounce. Just because I read quickly and my mind goes quickly and goes over it. The Wheel of Fortune card. Again, something really is going on. I just can't see what it is. Huh? Where's Estelle? She said to go ahead and eat without her. She didn't seem to have an appetite. I see. She took the news a lot better than I thought she would. It's not surprising she doesn't want to come out of her room. Seeing as how close she is with her father. I agree. So what do you think about all this, Shara? Is it an accident or an incident? To be honest, I couldn't say either way. Your dad is a top-class bracer. When it comes to crisis management, he's the best there is. Whichever it is, if your father happens to be there, it'll be resolved. But the fact is, an airliner, along with your father, has gone missing. In other words, what you're trying to say is that things that shouldn't have happened, right? Don't lose heart on me now. Need to be a stout wall of support and bear Estelle up. I'll get to work tomorrow and see what I can find out. Man, it sure smells good down here. I can't stand it any longer. What? Estelle, are you okay? I'm so hungry, I thought I was gonna pass out. Oh, this looks so good. Bon appetit. Aren't you two having any? This is great. The basil flavor really comes out when you roast it. You sure know how to cook, Joshua. Well, thanks. Come on, Shara. Don't you just sit there too. Don't you want to drink some of my dad's brandy from his secret stash? I'm pretty sure there's a bottle of Steinrose that's about 20 years old down there. You say Steinrose and 20 years old too? Shara, what do you think you're doing? Sorry, Estelle. I'm gonna have to pass on this time. By the way, what were you doing up in your room? You didn't come down even after Joshua called you for supper. Huh? Oh, right. I was just looking for some extra underwear. I was having a bit of trouble finding one of my favorites because it was stuffed in the back of one of the drawers. Underwear? Oh, and a set of and a set of gear for traveling. I mean, who knows how long we'll be gone, so I figured as long as we're prepared, we'll have nothing to worry about. So what you're saying is, you intend to head to Bose to find your father? Well, duh, that's a no-brainer. Well, I can't imagine anything bad happening to him despite his horrible luck. Waiting around here just doesn't suit me. So I'm gonna go check things out for myself. You really are something else. Whether it's your positive attitude or thick skin, I can't say, but... What? You're so rude, Joshua. But you're coming along too, right? Of course. However, it looks like all airliner flights have been canceled until the Army finishes their search. Seems like the only way to travel to Bose is on foot. Walk to Bose, huh? I wonder how long that's gonna take. For a bracer on foot, if they hurry, they can make it there in about half a day. But if that's the route you're taking, that makes things easy. I think I'll tag along as well. Really? You'll come with us? But aren't you busy with a bunch of other jobs? Hey, I trained under your father, right? Did you honestly think I'd just sit here when something could have happened to the person I owe so much to? I'm gonna talk to Ina, and we're gonna have her pass my jobs to the guild, at the guild to another member. Shara. We really appreciate this, Shara. You really shouldn't be thanking me. I just can't leave a job as big as this up to a bunch of newbies. I hate to say it, but you're probably right. Oh well. Since Shara's along for the ride now, I do feel a little bit more confident. We appreciate you coming with us. Myself as well. Anyway, let's make sure to drop by the guild tomorrow morning before we leave. I'll need to explain the situation to Ina. Disappearance of the Lind. First chapter. I understand the situation now. To be frank, though, with Sherazar taking off after Castius, I'm gonna be really short-handed. But since this involves him directly, please don't worry about anything. I really appreciate this, Ina. Make good use of the bridge while we're gone. He should be able to deal with at least three times his normal workload. Don't you think that's a little bit harsh? Don't worry, if things get too hectic, I'll ask for help from the Grancel branch. By the way, Sherazard, can I get a minute? I'd like to talk to you about the job you were going to do. Sure, no problem. So, Joshua, have you two wait upstairs? I'll be done in a minute. Understood. Shara? We're gonna be waiting. Would you mind if we did it out front of the clock tower? I'd like to say hi to someone. Oh, yeah. That's right. Okay. Well, let's meet up in front of the clock tower. As soon as I'm done here, I'll head over there myself. Got it. Come on, Joshua. Sure. Septine calendar. 1075. Erected in partnership with a liberal royal family, Septine Church in Rolent City. Septine calendar. 1192. Destroyed during the 100 Days War when Rolent was bombarded by the Erebonian Imperial Army. Septine calendar. 1197. Rebuilt with cooperation from citizens of Rolent. Every time I see this clock tower, I always think they sure did a superb job restoring it after the war. You can sure feel the spirit of the Rolent's people from this. Estelle? Joshua? What do you think about going up with me and waiting until Cher shows up? You mean the clock tower? Sure, I don't mind. Okay, come on. Morning air is so refreshing. Hey look, Joshua, we can see our house from here. You're right, I can see the roof. But do you want to tell me what's going on since you've always avoided coming up here? I was under the impression that you didn't like this place. I like this place, but I just can't casually come up here. Because this is the place where my mom died. What? 10 years ago, during the war, when the Imperial Army surrounded Rolent, they bombarded the symbol of the city, the clock tower, to try to get the citizens to surrender. That was at the time Dad was fighting in the Royal Army. I wanted to see who he was fighting against, so I climbed up to the clock tower. And when the bombardment started, I couldn't get away. When I came to, I hardly had a scratch on me. My mother had saved me. I was wrapped tightly in her arms, shielded from the rubble. And as I cried, she sang my favorite lullaby. But when they finally dug us free, after the war ended and this place has been rebuilt, I avoided coming up here for the most part. Not because I have painful memories of this place, though. It's just when I come here, part of me wants so much to draw on her strength. Plus, I've felt that I can't be strong like her if I'm always trying to rely on her. Still. But today's okay, right? Relying on her just this once. Asking her to bring Dad home safely. Asking her to protect him. Of course it is. And don't worry, Dad's safe for sure. Your mother's protecting him, so there's no doubt in my mind that he's safe. And if he happens to be in a bit of trouble, then you can come to his rescue. Just like your mother did for you. You can do the same for your dad. And don't forget, I'm here to help you too. Joshua. I know I can't completely understand everything you've been through, but I can stay here by your side as I am now. And if you need a shoulder to cry on, you've always got mine. So... Huh? Joshua, you're trying too hard. You shouldn't say things like that so lightly. What do you mean? If I were any other girl, I would have totally misinterpreted your intentions just now. You're seriously the type who's going to have problems with romantic relationships in the future. I'm already starting to get worried. Well, excuse me for trying to be nice. Why do you have to be like that when someone is genuinely worried about you? Thanks for cheering me up, Joshua. I feel a lot better now. I guess as long as I get some kind of thanks for what thanks it was worth it for looking like a complete fool. But you are unbelievable. Mumble mumble. Don't be so mad. I'm really thankful, believe it or not. So how about we get down from here, huh? I'm sure Sherry's waiting for us. You're probably right. Mom, I finally realized why I wanted to become a bracer. It's so I could become strong and protect others just like you. So please, watch and see. I won't fail to bring Dad home safe again. Aw, the two of you just had a cute scene going on up there. Why, my cheeks even felt a bit hot just thinking about it. What's that supposed to mean? You were spying on us? Give me some credit, will you? I just happened to see you when I looked up and check the time. I sure wish I had an orbital camera to get a shot of that view. Come on. What are you trying to say, Shara? That's called family bonding, plain and simple. Kind of like your habit with hugging everyone after your third bottle of wine. Let's not get into that. What's with the sigh? You really don't know how to take a joke, do you? Well, whatever. Did you say hi to Lena while you were up there? Yeah. I even asked for help to watch over Dad. I see, then I guess it looks like you're all set. You know, Lena's protection is equal that of the goddess herself. Your dad's safety is pretty much guaranteed. I think you may be giving her a little bit too much credit. Now that you mention it, you met Estelle's mother before, right, Shara? Yeah, when I was a child. I was still in a troupe at the time. A troupe? Yeah, a troupe in a traveling circus. Shara was a dancer. Although it's a long time ago, we first met when she came to Rolent with the circus. 12 years ago, to be exact. I was 11 and Estelle was 4. And because of that chance encounter, when I became a bracer, I trained under her father. I didn't know that. Maybe I'll tell you about it sometime when I get a chance. Are you about ready to head out for Bose? With the airliner flights canceled, we'll just have to make our way to Bose the old-fashioned way, by foot. First, we'll need to make our way to the Verte Bridge checkpoint, which sits on the border of the Bose region. The Verte Bridge is located at the west end of the Milch Main Road. Looks like we're all set. Let's go. Alright, I'm probably going to... pick this up in a little bit. Alright, so here we go. Now, I still have my no encounters on. Yep. Okay, so we're going to this way here. Alright. Hello there. Are you headed for Bose? We are, but how did you know we weren't just visiting again? Well, a number of people like yourselves have been passing through lately. Exponentially more than usual. Let me move my microphone just a little bit. Okay. Is that because the flight's been suspended over the airspace over Bose? That's exactly what happened. You won't believe how busy this place is because of it. Well, the Royal Army is responsible for all the restricted flights. So you're really not in a position to complain. Yeah, I guess you're right about that. Oh, and another thing, traffic through the checkpoint is also being regulated. If you want to go through here, you'll need to get a pass from the Chief Warrant Officer next door. Okay. Well, if it isn't Estelle and Joshua too. Hello, Mr. Ashton. And this is Sherazard, if I remember correctly, right? Good afternoon, sir. You'd like to cross over into the Bose region. We're wondering about getting a pass. Let me guess, this is something to do with the Lynn, doesn't it? Yeah. Still explains that Cassius was aboard the missing airliner. Goodness, Cassius was aboard? This is major. I'll issue you a pass right away. Received gate pass. Thank you, sir. Is it alright for you to issue a pass just like that? What are you talking about? I know you kids by face. And as a member of the Royal Army, I should do my best to cooperate with the Bracer Guild. Oh, but one other thing. Huh? Be careful if you have any errands at the Haken Gate to the north of here. You might want to hide your identities as bracers there. What do you mean? I'm sorry, but I can't say any more about the matter. But if you do intend to investigate the incident, please do so with discretion. I pray to Adios for Cassius' safe return. Alright. So we got the pass and something's up with the Haken Gate. Alright, we got one. Well, that was quick. Okay then, how about I open the gate for you? Soldier, open the gate by remote control. Alright, you're clear to go on through. Once you cross over, you won't be able to come back unless you get a pass from the other side. Please be aware of that before you cross. Got it. Alright, here we go. Okay, so we're going to go to Bose. That's just all the way to the left. And yep, just continue on this road. What's that headed this way? Grant! Well, if it isn't Charizard, how have you been? Fine, I haven't seen you in a while either. What are you up to? As you can see, I'm doing an escort job. I'm sure that you've heard about all the airliners being grounded after the Lind incident, right? Because of that, we have to move all the cargo of the Royal City by ground transport. I see. Well, your efforts are certainly appreciated. Sorry, I'm adjusting my headphones to make it less loud for me. So, how about yourself? What are you doing with these youngsters? Don't tell me you're looking into the incident. That was a plan. Why? You know something we should be aware of? Well, I think it would be best if you spoke to Lugrin about it at the Bose branch. Anyway, gotta get going. Catch you later. First Mr. Ashton and now him. Everyone seems to be hinting at something, but no one will just come out and say it. I wonder what's up. Well, there must be a good reason for it, and we'll probably find out our answers at the Bose branch. Agreed. If we do as he suggests and ask Lugerin about it, we might just get a clue as to what's going on. Anyway, let's get moving. Alright, so yep, just follow the same road. And, okay, all the way to the left. Bose North Block. We finally made it here. This is the commercial city of Bose, which sits at the heart of the Bose region. Wow, this definitely looks like a city. Of the 5 major cities in the borough, this one comes next after the Royal City. Compared to Rolent, the buildings are all made of stone and seem a lot bigger. Does anyone have any idea as what the huge building is over there? That's a Bose Market. It's the indoor marketplace made up of various shops. Food, clothing, sundry goods, furniture, books, and so on. You can pretty much buy everything here with the exception of weapons and ordnance. It's not surprising that they call this place a commercial city. Man, I really wish this trip could have been for shopping. Maybe some other time. Let's first stop by the guild and find out what's going on regarding the incident. Oh, alright. Just so you know, the Bracer Guild is just right over there. Oh, Charizard. You arrived a lot sooner than I expected. I appreciate you coming all the way from Rolent. It's been a while, hasn't it, Lugren? Did someone tell you that we're coming all ahead of time? Yes, I received a call from Aina not that long ago. So that means these two kids with you are Cassius's children? Yes, that's right. It's nice to meet you, sir. I'm Estelle Bright. And I'm Joshua Bright. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Lugren, and I oversee the Bose branch. Your father and I go way back. Please, just call me Lugren. Sure, we'll do that. That said, could you give us a quick update on the missing airliner incident? Yes, about that. The Royal Army is still continuing its search. However, with the Army's current restriction on information, no public updates of the situation have been made. Not only has the general public been kept in the dark, but the guild hasn't heard a word either. Really? Why not? Aren't the Army and the guild supposed to be cooperating together? Well, that's the way it is on the surface anyway. But in actuality, there's a lot of opposition between both parties on a number of aspects. So pretty much what you're saying is that it's a bunch of jurisdictional disputes, right? I hate to admit it, but that's the situation. In addition, General Morgan has gotten involved. Did you just say General Morgan? Great. Now it really looks like things are going to be a pain. General Morgan? Who's that? He's famous for repelling the Imperial Army's invasion 10 years ago. You should have read about him in your history books. Amazingly enough, I don't recall the name. So what's the big deal with this famous guy anyway? From what I've heard, he's not the biggest fan of the Bracer Guild. Hates bracers, in fact. It seems he even makes a point to routinely assert that there's no need for the Bracer Guild. Sounds like a real whack job to me. So what you're saying is that we're not getting any information because of this general? That's not really important at the moment. What really matters is that bracers are being prohibited with entering the regions they are investigating. And because of that, it's causing conflicts with our other work. But we just came all the way here from Rolent. If that's the way it's going to be, then it's time to duel it out with this general to decide who gets to investigate the incident. You're talking like a crazy person, Estelle. Keep it cool, Bracer. There are other ways, such as the request we just received from the mayor concerning the incident. She has asked that we conduct an investigation from the guild side, separate from the army. Well, that's encouraging news. If it's an official request from the mayor, it'll be a great pretext for us to conduct our own investigation. I see. Well, isn't this perfect timing? Lugren will accept the mayor's request. That sounds fine by me. But before you go, you two are junior bracers, right? Yeah, why? Junior bracers, so to speak, are members in training registered at various branches. In short, their performance is monitored by the branch where they are currently registered. And right now, for you two, that would be Rolent. So what you're trying to say is that we have to change our registration if we want to accept jobs here, right? You've got it. Here, all you need to do is sign on these forms to transfer your registration. Sure. Your names go here, and Estelle and Joshua filled out the registration forms. Alright, looks like everything's in order. Junior Bracers, Estelle and Joshua. As of this day, at 15:20, your registration at the Bose branch has been approved. This means that you are now members of the Bose branch. So you know, once you become a senior bracer, you can do any job without being registered to a particular branch. But on the flip side, your duties and responsibilities increase as well. Understood. So pretty much we're still newbies. Well, it looks like now I'll be able to entrust you with the mayor's request. The mayor's residence is near the west gate. You should go there and talk to her directly. We'll do that. Understood. Alright, so by the west gate. Right. So like I said in my other, a little bit ago, I'm not going to go out of my way to do these. I'll pick them up, and if I do it, I'll do them, but I won't go out of my way to do them. Alright, so west gate. I'll leave the side quests. Oh, south here. And now... I think I got lost last time too. Oh, I know where it is. Right there. Wow, now isn't this a gorgeous place? Check out that crazy expensive looking chandelier. Calm down, Estelle. Looks like this is the mayor's place, alright? Now I just wonder if she's home. Oh, do we have visitors? Welcome to the Bose mayor's residence. May I ask who you are, please? We're with the Bracer Guild. The mayor made a request to the guild that we've come here to inquire about the details. Well, I've heard from the mayor that we would be expecting you. However, I'm sorry to inform you that the mayor is currently out at the moment. She's gone to worship at the chapel. When do you expect her back, sir? Well, let me see. Actually, I would imagine her to be making a return any moment now. Well, we're kind of in a hurry to meet her. You think it would be alright to call on her at the chapel? Well, I don't wish to inconvenience you. Don't worry, it will probably save us both some trouble. But if you don't mind me asking, what does the mayor look like? Like a typical wealthy person, big hat and feathers in it, dripping gemstones from every pore. Feathers, gemstones from every what? How colorful. But quite off the mark, I assure you. How would I describe her? Should I say she looks splendid, or should I say beautifully mature? If she could just find the right man, then I could retire in peace. Huh? Never mind. I was just thinking out loud. Oh yes, this might help. The mayor is a maid accompanying her. That might be the easiest way to find her. Mayor is being accompanied by a maid, huh? That sounds easy enough to find in a crowd of people. Let's hurry and head over to the chapel. Okay. And here's the maid. Oh, there you are. You're the maid we've been looking for. And you are? Estelle. That wasn't very polite. My apologies. We're with the Bracer Guild. We're looking for the mayor so we can confirm the details of jobs she requested. Oh, I see. Please let me introduce myself. I'm her maid, Lila. I see to the mayor's daily needs. Being served hand and foot, huh? The worlds we live in are really different. So where's the mayor, if you don't mind me asking? Didn't she come here to pray? She's playing hooky from her religious duties. I'm sure she's probably in the middle of inspecting the situation in the market. She took off after telling me to pray for her too. I don't know how I should say this, but the mayor seems like she has quite a unique personality. Well, doesn't she sound interesting? Even if she weren't the mayor, I'd be kind of intrigued. There's no doubt she's a capable person, although she does have a bit of an unrestrained aspect to her at times. Anyway, I'm on my way to meet her right now. I don't mean to sound impolite, but would you mind waiting at her residence? I'll let her know you're there. I don't know how I feel about going back there empty-handed. Would it be alright if we came along with you instead? Come with me to meet the mayor? Well, I guess it's okay. Let's make our way over to the Bose market then. Hey, look who it is. Wow, this place is really huge. I wonder where the mayor is. Well, she does stand out in the crowd, so I'm sure you'll find her right away. Oh, just as I thought. The two of you should be absolutely ashamed of yourselves. Trying to force up the price of food at a time like this by buying it all up? You're not fit to be merchants in Bose. But ma'am, we were just thinking about how to increase the sales of the Bose market in general. I don't want to hear any more from you. If it were other products, it would be a different story, but making you undue profits on necessities will lead to negative publicity for the market. Return these goods to the original prices at once. Alright, we'll do as you say. Now, don't doubt your passion for the Bose market, but I want you to understand this. Commerce, when you get right down to it, is the established relationship of trust between people. And believe me, if you do business with that in mind, you can become wonderful merchants in Bose. Yes, ma'am. We'll do our best. Madam? Lila, so you came, huh? I'm sorry you had to see that side of me. Actually, you did a wonderful job, as always. Never mind that, these people are here to see you. Please come back home immediately. Oh, that emblem is. Could you be the bracers I requested? Yep, that's us, but... does that mean that you're... Forgive me for not introducing myself. My name is Maybell. I'm the owner of this market and the mayor of the Bose region. This restaurant looks super expensive. Are we really going to have a meeting here? I often use this place for business meetings. The food is quite good too. I'll tell you what though, I had heard the mayor of Bose was a woman, but I never imagined you would be this young. Based on looks alone, I would guess that you're only 4 or 5 years older than me. Actually, I still feel like I'm nothing more than an unworthy successor to my father. My late father was the previous mayor, and all I did was inherit the rights to the Bose market and the political foundation which he set up. That's a rather unvarnished self-evaluation if I ever heard one. After all, I'm just the daughter of a businessman, so there's no sense getting high hot about it. But anyway, would it be alright to go over the details of my requests with you again? Sure, that sounds fine. Well, what I'd like to ask you to do is to investigate the disappearance of the missing airship and bring closure to the incident. I am of the opinion that bracers would bring about much more desirable results concerning this incident than the Army is currently producing. The reason being, we're not fighting a war, we're trying to find answers and solve a mystery. Well, I, for one, would be honored, but don't you think you're overrating us just a little bit? And I call it a businesswoman's prerogative. The fact of the matter is, an influential businessman was aboard the airliner that disappeared. In addition, the Royal Army continues to keep the Bose airspace as a no-fly zone. Business is going to suffer. Just when business has been booming prior to the Queen's birthday celebration, too. I see. So this is an economic appeal, right? Yes, and it's something which I can't trust to be left up to the Army alone. So what do you think? Will you accept my request for help in the matter? Well, we have our own reasons for wanting to investigate the incident, and we like to accept the job, but the Army has actively been trying to exclude bracers from anything having to do with the incident. So, I don't suppose you can pull the mayor card for us, could you? Maybe show the Army who's running the show? Excluding bracers, huh? This must have something to do with General Morgan, then. That man has disliked bracers from the beginning. So you know who the general is, Mayor Maybell? He's a friend of my late father's. Tentatively speaking, we have a passing acquaintance with one another. So I may just be able to do something for you. Meaning, Lila? Yes, madam. Lila produced a sheet of letter paper and found a fountain pen from the pocket and handed them to Mayor Maybell. I guess this should be sufficient. Here, please take this with you. Received Mayor Maybell's letter. What's this letter for? It's a letter of request to General Morgan. It's to inform him that of my request for the information about the incident as the official responsible for the region. I think this should be enough to get some information out of the Army. I see. But I wonder if that bracer-hating general will even meet us at all. I think it would be a pretty safe bet as long as you hide your identities. You'd probably be best served by saying that you're messengers for the mayor. I don't know if I like the sound of that. It feels like we're lying or something. It's not lying, we're just not telling him everything. Since this is a time-sensitive situation, I think we should be practical about it. I guess you're right, Joshua. By the way, where do we need to go to meet General Morgan? There's a fort called the Hocken Gate at the international border to the north of Bose. You should be able to find the general there. Alright everyone, I'm counting on you. You just leave everything to us. If we find out anything, we'll come back and let you know. I'll be looking forward to some good news. Goodbye and have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Alright, let's get going. The Hocken Gate is to the end of the Eisen Road to the north of the East Bose Highway. In short, we need to head to the East Gate and then turn north thereafter, right? Alrighty then, Hocken Gate, here we come. East. And the Eisen Road, so go up. We go up here. Hold it right there. Hocken Gate is not currently permitting civilian passageways through this checkpoint. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed past this point. Sorry to make you waste your breath, but we are authorized to be here. Estelle produced a letter. This is Mayor Maybell's. Mayor has requested that we come and speak to General Morgan about the status of the search. As you can see, this document is official. But if you don't want to let us through, I'm sure you'll be hating life later. I guess there's nothing we can do about it, but let you through. Are you serious about this? Don't you know Mayor Maybell's the one in charge of the entire region? You can't just ignore that. I guess you're right. Alright. We'll grant you permission to pass, but make sure you don't cause any problems. Whatever happens, never forget that we share a border with the Empire. Yeah, we got it already. Alright then, let us through. Alright. I always found it funny that there are monsters here. I believe there was a chest here, that's what I'm looking for. I think it was behind here. No, I guess not. Oh well. I probably missed it. This is the Haken Gate. It's freaking huge. Of course it's huge. It acts as the sole entrance to the Empire and is rampant. And it is a rampart that protects Liberal from foreign threats. After it was destroyed in the war 10 years ago, a much more robust wall was built in its place. Standard military reaction, bigger equals better. Which means that beyond this point is no longer liberal. Yep. It's the territory of the Erebonian Empire, which stands beneath the emblem of the Golden Stallion. The Erebonian Empire. Well, enough staring for one day. Let's go meet General Morgan. There's some barracks right there to the side of the gate. Maybe we'll find him there. Okay, let's go. Before that, I want you to remove those bracer emblems you got pinned on your chests. Things won't be pretty if General Morgan sees those. Oh, I forgot about that. Somehow I feel all weird doing this. Yeah, there's something just doesn't feel right about this. Don't worry, that's proof that you started adjusting to being bracer. Before we go there... Yes. Yep. What a surprise. This is my first time eating Liberal's cooking, but it was rather delectable. I'm glad you liked it. If you head to town, there are a number of other places where you can eat great Liberal cooking as well. You enjoy the trip of yours, alright? That I will do, believe me. If this is the kind of food I can get in a board or dive like this, then I truly am in a feast for a feast elsewhere in this land. Well, excuse me for having a bar here on the outskirts of the country. Before you go feasting on the finer things, how about a glass of wine? I know it's not high-end exactly, but the taste is worth the price. Huh, well then, maybe I will. You think this guy is? Looks like a traveler from the Empire, if you ask me. Alright, I think we come back to him after we do this. How in the world did you guys get through? The barracks hasn't been the barricade hasn't been lifted on the Eisen Road yet. We came here on an errand from Mayor Maybell from Bose. You think you could get us in to see General Morgan? Joshua explained what the mayor requested about disclosing his identity. Without disclosing his identity. Well, that's understandable. In that case, I could definitely get you in to see the general, but unfortunately he's out at the moment. He's actually spearheading a number of searches right now. Looks like her timing was bad. You don't happen to have any idea when he might return, do you? I think he'll be back sometime today. There's a bar in that rest stop over there, so why don't you wait for him there? I'll let you know when he gets back. Bar, you mean the place we're just at? Why is there a bar in a place like this anyway? Obviously, because this is the border with the Empire. The screening process for those entering and leaving the country is really strict, so there are a lot of travelers who have to wait quite a bit. That makes a lot of sense. In that case, it's understandable that you would need facilities like an inn and a bar. Well then, we'll take you up on your suggestion and wait over at the bar. Alright, so now we go back and see one of my favorite characters. Good day to you all, my fine friends. You appear to be citizens of Liberl, but may I ask if you're traveling to the Empire? Nope, we're just here on an errand. We're not traveling to the Empire. You appear to be a citizen of Erebonia yourself. What about you? Are you here to visit Liberl Kingdom? Ah, I'm glad you asked. I'm indeed a visitor of Liberl, both for work and for pleasure. And you say you're running an errand, but I can see your true colors. I know exactly who you are. Who are we? Indeed, you're bracers, no? How'd you know? We removed our bracer emblems. Wait, are you trying to tell us that you're in the same profession? It's true that there are guild branches in the Empire, but actually, I'm not a bracer. I just know several people in the guild, that's all. And there's an air about you that just reminded me of them. So I just thought I'd ask. Those are some excellent deductive reasoning skills you've got. I don't think an amateur could have picked us out in a crowd like that. Are you sure you're a traveler? Please don't look at me with such suspicious eyes. Those cold, flickering eyes of amber, just like a glass of exquisite brandy. You just made me want to kiss you and hold you in my arms. What? You're a bold one, aren't you? Wait a minute, are you one of those men who likes other boys? I just can't help myself when I see something beautiful standing before my eyes. Daughters of serenity, sons of elegance. Supernal melodies and cleansing landscapes, masterpieces, and stories to move the soul. And last but not least, the most exquisite in food and drink. For things such as these are those which pique my interest. So you're a pervert, just like I thought. Yep, definitely a pervert. How dreadful it is that a genius is misunderstood in every generation. I feel as if my delicate glass heart is about to be broken. You, with your magnificent black hair, please comfort me in my time of need. I'm gonna have to pass. You've already scarred me for life as it is. I've heard of strange conversations in my day, but this one's worth remembering. Look on that kid's face. Ha! Hey, you three. Oh, it's a soldier from earlier. The general has just returned. I just spoke to him about the matter, and he said he would meet with you now. Really? Yeah, so come to the barracks with me immediately. Wow, that was much quicker than I thought. Yeah, now at least maybe we'll be able to find out what's going on. Okay, well let's be off, shall we? Oh man. What are you following us around here for? Your timing is excellent. You didn't miss a beat in exiting behind us. It seemed almost natural. Scarily so. Ah, you noticed. Everything about you just seemed so interesting, I thought I'd take a gander. Please, don't mind me. Carry on, my good gent and mademoiselles. Of course we're going to mind. Now get, you. Shoo, shoo. was that guy? Seriously, what is his deal? He's not normal, that's for sure. Getting rid of that weirdo is probably better, not only for ourselves, but a service to the world at large, too. Now, let's hurry and meet with the general. Oh, jeez. I could hear some arguing. Was there some kind of problem with that another traveler? No, nothing big like that. That aside, could you let us meet with the general? Yeah, he's inside. His office is the last door to the left. Make sure you don't go wandering around in other places where you're just not permitted. Alright, last door on the left. The end of the hall on the left. It looks like this is the general's room. Knock. Alright, here goes nothing. Are you here on behalf of Mayor Maybell? That's right. Well, very well. Come on inside. Thank you for seeing us. I'm glad that you came. My name is Morgan. I have been tasked with guarding the Hacken Gate by Her Majesty, Queen Alicia. It's an honor to meet you, sir. We are all here on behalf of Mayor Maybell. Please pardon our intrusion during such a busy time. There's no need to apologize. I've known Maybell since she was but a child. I couldn't imagine ignoring her request, much less one from the mayor. Alright then, would you please read this first? Hand it over to the mayor's letter. So it's about the missing airliner, is it? Under ordinary circumstances, that information would be strictly confidential. But considering this is a request from her, I'll tell you everything I know. Sweet! Star. Question mark. Why are you happy about something that doesn't concern you? Crap. Should have kept my mouth shut. The mayor appears quite distraught over the situation, and so we've wanted to do anything we can to assist her. I see. Well, I'm glad to hear that she's been blessed with some good people around her. Let me get right down to things and explain the status of her search efforts. Please do. The airliner, Lind, disappeared on its way to Rolent after taking off from the Bose landing airport. Presently, we have units searching all areas of the region, but we have yet to come up with anything. So what you're saying is the possibility of the incident being caused by monsters or an accident is fairly slim, right? If an airship that size had crashed, it likely would have been discovered in initial search efforts. Yes, that's exactly right. In fact, the flight route between Bose and Rolent goes over some plains that allow a commanding view of the land. And of course, the probability of the airliner going down in Valeria Lake or the ocean is extremely low. Boy, am I relieved to hear that it's probably not a worst case scenario like that. So if those have been ruled out, then that just leaves the door open for the possibility that the airship could have been taken, right? Which makes me think that the only remaining motives must be to loot the cargo or demand a ransom for the hostages. In other words, a hijacking, right? Also, considering the geographical conditions, it would have been a covert operation carried out by the Imperial Army. And that would be really big news if that were the case. What's the matter, General? I was just thinking that that's quite an impressive assessment for some civilians. We also consider the possibility that the Imperial Army was involved. So we have enforced strict regulations on the flow of information. An international incident, if taken lightly, could result in another war. war. But thanks to the small mercies of Adios, the possibility of another conflict disappeared early this morning. A certain organization sent a letter to the royal family, an orbital ship Co., claiming responsibility and demanding a ransom for the passengers. This organization goes by the name of the Kapua family. Oh, goody. The Kapua family? It couldn't be who I think it is, could it? Certainly appears that way. Sky bandits who have been operating in the shadows in the Bose region and are led by 3 siblings at their head. I take it you've too heard of them? Not only have we heard of them, we just had a run-in with them in Rolent. I just can't believe those good-for-nothing thieves have managed to create such a big incident here in Bose. Estelle! Oops. You had a run-in with them in Rolent. I had heard that some of their gang had showed up in the Rolent region, but I think he's onto us. Yeah, because of you and your big mouth. I see now. I thought the way you were able to analyze the situation was strange for mere civilians. But I never would have guessed that a girl and a couple of kids like you were bracers. Who do you call them kids? Just for the record, Mayor Maybell did in fact request that we come here and talk to you. Silence, deceivers! Get in here, men! He looks pretty pissed. So this is how a hard-nosed military man acts, huh? What's the matter, General? Did these visitors try to pull anything funny? These bracers need to be shown the door. Throw them out immediately. Just what is your problem, old man? Trying to brush us off like bugs? You're no different. Hiding your identities so you could try and finagle some information out of me. It's because you pull underhanded actions like that that bracers can't be trusted. Just where do you get off calling it finagling? It's your fault since you didn't share information with the guild to begin with. Nonsense. Who in their right mind would leave an incident this big in the hands of a mere civilian group? I swear, of all the stupid things Maybell could have tried to pull, hiring a bunch of kids like this and getting in the way of our search party. How about you cut it with the crap, General? Why do you think we've had to come all the way from Rolent to begin with? It's because when it comes down to it, your military morons can't do your job. What did you just say? Holy cow. Sure is really pissed, alright. For the past few months, you've known about the string of burglaries which seem to be the work of the Sky Bandits, right? And who, knowing full well it was them, dumped the workload onto the guild instead of looking into themselves like they should have, huh? And now, the second this incident happens, you get on your high horse with an attitude. Yet you've got nothing to show for it. No hostages, or even the location of the missing airliner. Don't you think that's an embarrassment to the entire kingdom? Silence, girl! The military is an organization that runs on discipline and does not take actions on a whim. Unlike a group I know who didn't think ahead and let the Sky Bandits escape, so enough with your insolence. So you're really looking for a fight, aren't you? How sad it is to see such discord. Strife brings nothing to be born, but only extends the barren wilderness within our hearts. Let me sing a requiem for you all, one to soothe your parched souls. A gentle yet wistful tune to bathe your brittle spirits and cause the deserts of your own hearts to bloom. Brightly shooting stars, leaving trails in the skies. He said the thing. Like a guiding light, they show me the way to our eyes. This yearning passion tears my heart in twain. And the cruel moon mocks my pain. If this fleeting dream shall never be, a single wound will remain in my heart for all to see. Our passionate first and final kiss. Your tears to me are an amber bliss. Let us immure this eternal love. Looks like y'all understood what I was trying to get across. What is it that most precious? What is it that's most precious above all? That's love and peace, baby. I think it's about time the search party to be returning with their reports. That's right, General. I just like how they don't acknowledge it. And yeah, the fact that this is this was patched to be widescreen, you can see the character, which we don't know the name yet. Look on the left side of the screen, it's all blocky and messed up. I should get back to my duties and make sure you don't let those kids in again. Oh, and cancel any further checks on travelers along the Eisen Road. Having these kids around any longer will just be an eyesore. Right away, sir. He ran away. I wish we could escape. He's still right behind us, isn't he? No matter which country you visit, military men lack romanticism. But you lot, on the other hand, appear to appreciate my aesthetic sense. You know, maybe we should get going ourselves? Yeah, good idea. We had a bit of trouble, but we did manage to get some information. After we head back to Bose, how about we rethink our future plan of attack? Where are you going? Wait for me. I mean, please wait for me. Let me try to introduce myself again. I am Olivier Lenheim, a wandering bard and musician by trade. As you already know, I'm Airbonian Turin, your fair liberal. I'm Estelle, and... Now wait a minute. Why do you have to introduce ourselves to you? Easy, Estelle. He did intercede for us back there. I'm Joshua. I'm Sherazard. Things are getting pretty heated, and I'm glad you stepped in before something really bad happened. Let me just say thanks. You got nothing to thank me for. Only did what any person who loves beauty and peace would have done. However, if you insist, how about going on a date with me for a day? I'm gonna have to pass on that. First of all, I don't have that sort of free time. That's too bad. Alright then, I guess I'll accept Joshua as a substitute. What do I have to do with any of this? Please don't involve me in your questionable humor. Well, that's odd. I didn't mean it as a joke. Saying that makes you even more questionable. Now, just wait a minute. How come you didn't invite me on a date? You? I don't know how to put this, but you're a bit lacking in the sexy department. You might want to think about taking a lesson or two from your friends here. Well, excuse me for not being sexy. And just what do you mean by saying I should take a few lessons from Joshua? Calm down, Estelle. I think you're cute enough just the way you are. Though I guess it's true, you are a bit lackluster in the sexy category. What did you just say? Oh, good grief. Anyway, like I said before, we're busy. I'm sorry there's not a better way to thank you, but we've got to get going. Then how about you take me along with you to the city of Bose? This is my first time in Liberal, after all. And I'd like to request a guide. Well, if that's all you want, then I don't mind. Sharon, now just a second. It's the least we can do, and we're headed to the same place anyway. Plus, acting as a guide is one of the Bracer's many duties. Oh, alright. I guess we're stuck with him until then. But what if he tries to sink his poisonous veins of lust into Joshua? Estelle? Don't you worry, Joshua. I'll save you from his perverted attentions if he tries anything funny. What is it exactly that you think he'll try? Please don't refer to me like I'm some sort of ferocious beast. I'd rather that you call me a hunter of love. Even Love Stealer wouldn't be as bad of a title either. Are you right in the head? So how about it, everyone? Shall we leave for Bose? I'm counting on you all to get me there safely. Now let's be off. Who died and made you leader? Hey, wait a minute, you. I'm not done warning you about the grisly fate that awaits you if you try to sully Joshua's innocence. Alright. So I'm going to save it here. And we'll continue this next time. So I hope to see you later.